Hello, this is a new edition of Baku Network, and here we are discussing very important topics that are high on our agenda today. We have our expert of Baku Network, Ms. Sevil Mikayilova, member of Azerbaijani Parliament, and also we have a special distinguished guest joining us from Brussels, member of the European Parliament from Latvia, Mr. Andris Ameriks. He is the vice chair of the Committee on Transport and Tourism of the European Parliament, and he is also the member of on the Committee of Petitions. So, Mr. Ameriks, Ms. Sevil Mikayilova, welcome. And let me just immediately jump in to a very important topic. And Mr. Ameriks, because also you are a member of the Committee on Transport and Tourism, I think that in this point it's very important to start our conversation with the importance of the transport and communication links, opening of all links that connects Europe with Asia, especially as the Republic of Azerbaijan, since the gaining our independence. In Azerbaijan, we have always advocated for the opening of the transportation communication links in our region in order to develop regional cooperation, in order to join and connect all the regional countries in the South Caucus, and thus through this cooperation we have very good opportunity to connect to the European countries, to the European Union, on the one hand, to Asia, to South, to North. So even after the ending of the war in South Caucasus, even after liberation of our territories, Azerbaijan continued advocating for the transportation, communication, and for the opening of all links in our region. So, Mr. Ameriks, what's your take on this, please?
I think you are absolutely right. When we discuss about connectivity for Azerbaijan now, Azerbaijan, is my opinion, is one of the core country, very important in case of cooperation in the region, because we understand that now we have, how we say, iron curtain around the Russia, the problems with Belarus, and all the previous networks, previous transit ways now is closed. And for Azerbaijan, Azerbaijan is a stable country, predictable country, and now we just look for the main negotiator in this region, because if we're looking at all the network, all connectivity of the south, this is just only one way how we can reach another countries. We can discuss about ground transport, we can discuss about air, but for Europe it's very important to see one stable place in this region. Without any doubts, now we can see, it's my opinion, this is Azerbaijan, because Kazakhstan is one of the biggest also partner in European Union. It says they don't have any exit to the Europe. They need these new routes, new possibilities to connect the European part, and Azerbaijan is the right time in the right place. If we look, I add one thing, and if we look for another connectivity possibilities for Bulgaria, Hungary, just connectivity with Turkey as well. Yes, no, I think you are now, you can play, and you current time play this very important role for next, maybe creating next relationships and new economical routes. I don't know why the Silk Roads, but this is absolutely sure that it's a very important economical routes between European Union and whole region, not just only Azerbaijan. And I think we will carry on all the discussions. Yes, one thing is energetical things. It's a gas pipelines or gas supplying to Europe, but it's also the other freight transport. It's a cargo things, and we will see. We don't know how long will continuous war in Ukraine. I think this is a huge influence for all relationships in the Europe, and this war is so heavy, so lot of victims. You have your experience in Karabakh, but now for Europe is important to see the stable partners, and one of this is, I think, in the transport sphere, this is Azerbaijan.
Yes, exactly, Mr. Ameriks. You are talking about the crisis that we are facing on a global scale, and of course, as taking into account that you are from Latvia, and Latvia historically and strategically has been very important country in the Baltics, in the Baltic region, and with the
access to mid of the Baltic.
Yes,
for
exactly.
Us is also very important. We are staying mid.
Yes, and as a official of your country, of very beautiful city of Riga, you had an honor to serve for this city many years, and of course we understand the point that you are talking about, because the Riga itself as a port city has been historically connecting the different regions, and we have like the biggest city of Azerbaijan, the capital of Azerbaijan, Baku, which lies on the shores of the Caspian Sea. And it seems that we have some similarities, historic similarities, geographic, and also this resemblances between our countries and nations talks too much what we are saying. So Ms. Mikayilova, and I think that in talking about this connectivity, it is very important also to speak about the missing element of Zenyras Corridor, which is very important, because if we are talking about connectivity, talking about connecting East with West, the Silk Road project, of course it is very important that this missing element, Zenyras Corridor, must be restored. Otherwise, the regional cooperation wouldn't be possible that we are thinking, because this Zenyras Corridor will give very positive, very good kind of contribution, not only to Azerbaijan but to the all regional countries, including Armenia. So what's your take on this, especially the missing element of Zenyras Corridor?
First of all, very glad to greet you and Mr. Ameriks in this platform, and I believe that this discussion is really effective in terms of pushing parliamentary diplomacy, and I think Baku Network will greatly contribute to this mission. As to missing element, as you called, and you're right calling it the missing element, Zenyras Corridor, I think, yes, now we are facing the problem with this missing element, because as Mr. Ameriks very correctly described the current situation, the challenges with which the European Union is currently facing. Now we need to find alternative routes amid ongoing Ukraine-Russia confrontation, and also we need to find an alternative route, because the southern route, let me name it conditionally in this way, which passes through Iran, is not so secure for the European Union. This is the second. And now we are actually facing other challenges in other geographies, which are connecting Europe with other parts of the world. Now the middle corridor is on table. It is supposed to be reliable in the future, and Azerbaijan is in the center of this middle corridor. But to realize this corridor, now we have a problem with Zenyras Corridor. How can we tackle the problem, and how we can remove all the obstacles on the way on our way to the European Union, to Europe. I think the major number one task for us, firstly, to normalize, to achieve the normalization of relations between Azerbaijan and Armenia, because without having this peace deal, which is of paramount importance for the two countries, it will be impossible to push forward any project in the region. Or if we could set up any project, it will not yield the result that we expect. Therefore, first of all, we need to push forward this normalization. And on this very point, I want to say that the European Union started a very effective role in 2022, which was welcomed in Azerbaijan and I think in Armenia also. We had 5 meetings which were very resultative, so they have real practical steps to offer the sides. But unfortunately, at the end of 2022, we faced a very difficult situation when Armenia actually seized the process, and it impeded the process by artificial means, desiring to see other countries on a table, and we think that namely this factor destroyed all the process. And now what we are having, we have on a table the challenges for the European Union's energy security, connectivity issues. We are having problems with peace security in South Caucasus, and we are having troubles with all the global projects that we want to start. Exactly. And the major thing that can be helpful for us to push forward these issues, I think EU's active role in the processes, constructive role in the processes, and we want EU to restore its role that it started under President Charles Michel's mediation in 2020.
Yes, Mr. Ameriks, Sevil Mikayilova highlighted very important elements, and as you are also the vice chair of the Central Asian delegation in the European Parliament, of course the opening and full-fledged functioning of Middle Corridor needs to recover this missing element, which is Zenyras Corridor. And this Zenyras Corridor of course will give impetus for the connectivity, connecting east with west, and even Azerbaijan will have, not only Azerbaijan, European Union will have an access through Caucasus, via Turkey, through Caucasus to Central Asia. And Central Asia, and then you have pointed out Kazakhstan and other countries, which are very important for the European Union. And European Union is interested in enhancing its cooperation with this region. So, as a vice chair of responsible for Central Asian delegation, I think that we would be very glad to hear your thoughts about the opening and full-fledged functioning of this Middle Corridor.
I fully agree with you, Tural, and thank you, Ms. Mikayilova. What you say, what I like to admit first, absolutely for Europe, for yours, for Azerbaijan, I think for Armenia, the same. First, we need to sign peace agreement. Peace agreement is a main task. As we look from the European part, I think from another world part, as also we have to reach result for peace agreement, and this provides us for the next steps. Zenyras Corridor is one of the main transit route, main possibility to connect Europe as well for all region, and for us it's very important. We can say it's a hope because a lot of things happen. Politicians, first of all, responsible about the decisions, how we manage the situation. And when in last year, in the end of the last year, I had a hope that this is maybe will so fast. Now is absolutely worse situation, and it's also can say we worried about it. But Zenyras Corridor, this is I think this is a main network for future cooperation, And it's not only for connectivity of all Azerbaijan territory, but it's a connectivity with all region. And this is very important because I will meet after 1 month, the Kazakhstan delegation will be in Brussels. And we also officially discussed about relationships and enhanced our relationship. And this is very important when Kazakhs say, yes, we can see our cooperation together with Azerbaijan.
Exactly. Very good points,
Yes.
Mr. Ameriks. Yes.
Very important point, yes. And if you look for all Central Asian region, yes, Uzbekistan, so important player in this region. We see what happened in other countries in Central Asia, in Tajikistan, in Kyrgyzstan. Yes, but now we can speak about long history of one conflict. And when the Azerbaijan renewed the borders and renewed the territory, the second thing is for everybody to see how we reach a peace agreement and discuss about investments, discuss about new steps in our, I think, more deep cooperation with Europe as well. And as my position, what is a politician main task? To provide the obstacles, to provide platform, how we can reach it. Yes, and this is so important when we meet each other in person, when we just inform maximum society about what's the situation, because now main focus in the world now is a war in Ukraine, and this is absolutely disaster what happened in Ukraine, and all world now support to Ukraine to end this all war against and we absolutely today say yes, Russia, go home, but also some local things around this conflict is one important thing, how we solve the situation in the region of Caucasus. Yes, and we absolutely understand that Caucasus connectivity with Europe is just only one way. If we look at the map, we all just learn in the schools geography, and you can open the maps and you can absolutely understand that in this region, Azerbaijan now is absolutely so important things, just responsible about many things, and we, as my person, support to reach the results for, I think, for next future.
Yes, very good points, because Azerbaijan, Armenia and Russia came together 2 years ago, and these countries signed trilateral statement which emphasizes that all transport and communication links in the region must be opened. So what we have seen, Azerbaijan allowed Armenian residents, the citizens of Azerbaijani citizens residing in Karabakh, using Lachin Road without any impediment. But on the other hand, unfortunately, Armenia still blocks and still does not allow Azerbaijan to connect with its Nakhchivan autonomous region. And this is unacceptable, because according to the international law, if you have signed an agreement, you must be obliged to implement this agreement. It is called one of the most important principles, pacta sunt servanta. If you sign it, you have to comply with it. So here, just I would like to say that, Ms. Mikayilova, Azerbaijan has been a reliable partner of the European Union. Well, recently, unfortunately, we have seen some biased documents in the European institutions, in the European Parliament, in the Council of Europe Parliamentary Assembly, some discussions taking place around the Lachin road, so-called blockade. And of course, as Azerbaijan, we are always interested in developing our relations. Even as the delegation of Azerbaijan, we have frequently visited the European Parliament. We would like to establish very good contacts with the European parliamentarians. But at the same time, unfortunately, some of them are brainwashed by some propaganda, pro-Armenian propaganda, and they don't, without knowing the reality, without having in-depth knowledge about the region, they discuss these elements related to Azerbaijan, and some biased documents come up as a result of this discussion. So just I would like to hear your thoughts. Of course, without any doubt, we have to develop our relations, but at the same time, we have to provide right information to our European colleagues that they do not fall again to the same trap. What do you think?
Thank you very much for this point. I fully agree with you, and you were right saying that in many cases, unfortunately, our colleagues at the European Parliament, without deep knowledge of the true situation on ground, they adopt some resolutions, they come out with some political statements, which ultimately infringes our relations with the European Union, because, you know, there is a sympathy for the European Union in Azerbaijan. I want to say that over the past year, it increased because of European Union's President, Mr. Michel's very constructive mediation in normalization of relations between Azerbaijan and Armenia. And believe me, such irresponsible, I will call them in this way, because without knowing the situation, without true information, if you say it is blockade, I mean the last process is ongoing in Azerbaijan's Karabakh region, it is not only untrue, but it is also unfair. Therefore, we invite our colleagues from the European Parliament to come to visit Azerbaijan, to go to the place that they are frequently discussing.
Unfortunately, but whenever
Yes.
they are coming, visiting, we saw the blackmailing campaign against those parliamentarians from the diaspora Armenian organizations, which blackmailed them, which threatened them, even for the visit to Azerbaijan. It's unacceptable, because as European parliamentarians, they are free in their thoughts, freedom of action. But unfortunately, in this case, we are seeing so negative developments. Unfortunately, even in the European Parliament, some members of it are falling to this trap.
I think all who are interested to know the situation and who want to bring its contribution to the processes need to come to Azerbaijan, need to come to the area and to see what is going on, to visit the area and to meet with the maybe Armenian population of Azerbaijan, to ask about their problems, what is on ground, and to hear by their own what is ongoing at the area. Without it, any resolution, any political statement, we think that it is untrue, it is unacceptable for Azerbaijan, and sometimes they say that it has no any force, because it is just a statement. But for us, it is not a statement, exactly, because it formulates, shapes public opinion about Azerbaijan, and we do not want to have such an image in the European Union, because as Mr. Emeriks was right to say that Azerbaijan's role is increasing in the region, and with this increasing role, Azerbaijan plays a very important role for the European Union as well. So we are not putting any conditions for the European Union. We are far from it. We want equal cooperation. We do not have any precondition. We just want to cooperate with our European colleagues in this area, to have very good relations with EU member countries separately and within the organization. This is the will of our government, and we have demonstrated it very frequently. So what we had in 2022, an energy memorandum, signed with the European Commissioner here in Baku, Ms. Ursula von der Leyen, yes, openly shows our will and our desire for cooperation, and we will go in this path because Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev has numerously said that cooperation with the European Union is very important, and it is very good that the European Union also accepts Azerbaijan as a reliable partner. So let's continue in this direction. We need truth. We are not against the criticism. So healthy criticism actually helps us to move in one direction. But I think it's
biased documents, biased position,
yes, it is unacceptable.
So, Mr. Ameriks, you have heard about the increasing role of Azerbaijan. Ms. Mikayilova especially mentioned Azerbaijan is becoming reliable partner for the European Union. Azerbaijan is not only contributing to the European Union in terms of energy security. We are planning to export green, clean energy yes. To European Union in forthcoming future. So it means that nevertheless, we have some problematic issues, especially within the European Parliament, and some biased politicians' position. We have actually good room for cooperation. The energy memorandum signed between Azerbaijan and EU is a very good example of it. Also, President of Azerbaijan frequently visits the EU countries. By the way, we have very good relations with Latvia, between Azerbaijan and Latvia. We have 9 members of the EU signed strategic partnership agreement with Azerbaijan. So 1/3 of EU countries are friends and strategic partners with Azerbaijan. So taking all this account, all this picture, I think that still we have to hope for the best. And of course, our relationship with EU is important, must continue. What do you think?
I think first in the European Parliament we established a friendship group with Azerbaijan as well, and it's not in Latvia or Lithuania. In the friendship group we have now more than 10 members of European Parliament, and we have to do so strong, just explaining and discussing about many issues, because it's so difficult sometimes to change a mind of some politicians, because I maybe read some another information, but I would like to admit another very important thing for discussions and for future our cooperation. Some days ago, journalists in Brussels here asked me also the one question about citizenship in Azerbaijan and for Karabakh region as well. And I said that in Latvia, we have more or less similar situation. In Latvia live Latvians, Russians, Belarusians, Ukrainians, different nations, so many nations in Latvia. But in Latvia, we have Latvian citizenship. We ask for know the native language. If you are a citizen, you are responsible about just all rules and law, what is in force in Latvia. I think it is the same in Azerbaijan. If you discuss about your territory, your country, it's one citizenship, and it's one law, and one understandability of all things. And if some people say, no, we don't like to take Azerbaijan citizenship and it's not for us, I think it's absolutely a wrong way. And it's also some maybe creating some discussions about what happened, history or some, because if in all countries, as I know, in Azerbaijan lives not just Armenians, people from Georgia, different nations live in Azerbaijan as well. But citizenship is one, same in Latvia, and for all, for Russians, for Ukrainians, for people who are living in Latvia, not native Latvians, because we are whole country. And this is also very important to explain the situation. And when after that, we can discuss about all things, about strengthen our relations, about more I think more information providing every day or every week for people who maybe sometimes not so being so touched to all regional problems in the Caucasus. Yes, because we know that in the European Parliament, some deputies is a main subject for discussions is Africa, Latin America, Venezuela, or some countries around the world, not just the Caucasus. And we have to understand that we have to speak about it. We have to speak loudly about it, yes? And after that, I think we will reach results.
Yes, Mr. Ameriks, you have drawn very good parallels between multi-ethnic, multi-faceted nations that we are having, Latvians and Azerbaijanis. We have even, as I've mentioned before, we have the same history. We went through the same difficulties. Latvia and Azerbaijan, we first declared our independence in the beginning of the 20th century in 1918. Though our independence was interrupted and we were occupied by big powers at that time, but we continued our struggle. We were the first nations to declare our independence when the Soviet Union was collapsing. We were the Azerbaijanis and Latvians, we were against this oppression, and still we are continuing our struggle today in order to testify before the world community that we are for peace, we are for justice. And of course here I would like to
and all nations have to feel secure, safe in every country when they are citizens.
Yes, Mr. Ameriks, I remember how it started. In the late 1980s, it was Latvians who stood up and protested against Soviet oppression. Yeah. And it started with the peace protest, Baltic Way. The people, 1 to 2 million people together stood and yes, for 600 kilometers. Together, yeah. Yes, they created kind of very strong, very good protest, demonstrated the world how people can peacefully protest against the oppression. And we were in Azerbaijan, we were in 1990 on 20th of January. We were the people, we were the nation who stood against the Soviet invasion. Soviet tanks invaded and massacred people, but we were not pulled back. We stood in our position, and we have been able to successfully to regain our independence. Now, of course, we have challenges, as you have mentioned, and here, Sevil, I would like to hear your views about the future of our region. Of course, I believe that if Armenia comes to terms with Azerbaijan, if we sign peace agreement, and as we are interested in having peaceful coexistence of nations, coexistence of all countries in the region, it is important and it's high time that we signed peace agreement with Armenia. But unfortunately, again, we are seeing some Armenian destructive position. Azerbaijan already submitted a peace proposal to Armenia based on the international principles, 5 principles, and still we haven't received kind of a positive reaction to that proposal. So I do hope that Armenia will accept it at the end, but still we have so limited and so little time for this. Don't you think that?
Very good point. The future of South Caucasus. This is very important. That I think this is a very concerning issue to all who lives in this area, because for many years South Caucasus actually suffered from conflicts, especially after collapse of the Soviet Union. You mentioned before this history reminded us with Mr. Ameriks this history that we shared for a long time, and we well remember this very tragic period when many nations gaining their independence from the Soviet Union actually inherited conflicts, and these conflicts actually impacted their life for many years. For Azerbaijan, 30 years we lived with war, we lived with conflict, blood with a neighboring nation, and you know, Mr. President of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, during the conflict with Armenia has stated numerously that namely the Karabakh conflict was the major impediment for the progress of the South Caucasus. And now the conflict has been resolved. Azerbaijan deoccupied its territory. Now our national territorial integrity has been restored. And now we are looking forward how to live in this area, because we have huge projects. We want to live in integration with other geographies, with other countries, with other continents. And this is our will, and how to realize, how to bring this prosperity to the region. So we want, to bring durable peace in the region, and we want all these countries to come together, not to huddle, not to impede each other with their progress. And we need to have very strong economic basis, and we need to have very strong economic projects to be realized. With the European Union, we have started. We are happy to say that we have real job on table, and you just mentioned about the hydrogen exports to the 4 countries of the European Union. I think it's very, very important in terms of to maintain the economic activity within these countries, and it will ultimately contribute to general EU's economy, and we are happy for that. And we think that further the list of the countries will be increased, and new countries will be added. And in this very point, I cannot mention Latvia, which is a very friendly country for Azerbaijan. For many years we have very good relations on a political level, because Latvia supported territorial integrity of Azerbaijan, and we think that this is a major milestone for any relations with any country for Azerbaijan. And also with Latvia, we have direct flights, tourism sector increase quite in a speed, and of course yes, and transport issues. And transport issues were always on table during the talks with Latvia. Latvia also has ports. We have ports. Therefore, we have other countries to cooperate. We have symbiosis routes, so that to realize this cargo deliveries from Azerbaijan to Latvia, and we even could expand the area of our impact in terms of transport, and we are very decisive to expand this geography in the future.
Very detailed picture, Sevil Mikayilova described here. Mr. Ameriks, Ms. Mikayilova mentioned the regional cooperation in South Caucasus. Azerbaijan on numerous occasions suggested creating a regional platform with the participation of all countries in order to develop our relations and to help the peoples in the South Caucasus and beyond to live in peace. But we have seen very good and very best example of this in your region. Baltic states, Baltic countries like Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia showed the world a kind of good example how the regional countries can come together and create an atmosphere which is conducive to peace, to regional cooperation. So maybe here also taking into account this, we have very good relations with Latvia and Azerbaijan. We would like to hear your thoughts about, first of all, regional cooperation, how you achieved it, your recommendation to our region, to our regional countries, and of course bilateral relations, because Riga and Baku, they are capital cities. We have so resemblances, close similarities. Riga, by the way, looks very beautiful always, so unique architecture, and always even Soviet times, I've heard from my parents, from my grandparents, the best city in the world to visit is the Riga.
Favorite tourist destination
for older generations. So these are very positive kind of moments that we have to recall and we have to follow.
Thank you, Tural. Yes, I'd like to remind we have agreement with Baku port as well. Riga port and Baku port is so just for when the port in Baku just were built, that we are signing agreement, and now we can see the Baku port is one of the important part of economy of Azerbaijan, and we saw I can say, appreciate and satisfied about our cooperation for previous time. I have been in this time and signed the agreements as well. But yes, I think first what I can say, maybe this is the end of this issue, it's so important to think positively, to look how we can cooperate. Yes, and maybe something happened in the world. But what is the main responsibility for politicians? Not fight each other, but look how we can cooperate. In Baltic states now, we also compete each other. It's not that so all times we are brothers or sisters, but we compete each other. But we compete in the positive field. Yes, and how it's like in Scandinavia, yeah, Finland, Sweden. This also the Nordic part. I can see now for Azerbaijan is so close neighbors in the European Union, the south part. Yes, we know in the south part you have good friends and good supporters. Yes, but I think for politicians is another task to work without break. We have work every day. We have explained the situation and try to do as much as possible to strengthen relationships. And I think this is one of the tasks for me as well, to be in Brussels, and you to be in a parliament, in Ms. Mikayilova in parliament in Azerbaijan. I think just continue this work. What can I say? Yes, and be in touch all time, and I think we all things will successful.
Yes, last but not least, Ms. Mikayilova, I think that, of course, we have very good experience in the European Union members like Latvia to learn from each other. Like Mr. Amerik said, Latvia has always been proud member of the European Union, proud member of the international community with its multicultural, multi-ethnic configuration of its nation. And here in Azerbaijan, we are also proud that we have very rich, multicultural, diversified culture, history, different ethnic groups living in Azerbaijan. We have Armenian citizens of Azerbaijan living in Karabakh region. And of course, our main aim to protect, to develop this atmosphere of coexistence of different ethnic groups. And even after the war, though we have been subjected to occupation, to the destruction, aggression by Armenia, immediately after ending the war, Azerbaijan said that we would like to reintegrate the Karabakh region, the formerly occupied territories, and also the people living there, ethnic groups, Armenians, into the political, into the social and economic sphere of our society. And here, of course, the example of Latvia can help us, and also Latvian colleagues can learn from our experience. So I think that, yes, it is very important for us as parliamentarians in our discussions with the European colleagues, with our conversation here in Azerbaijan, in the region, to point out these elements.
Of course, exchange of experiences every time helpful, and we will continue in this direction. And during our each visit and each meeting, you also witness that we speak about it, we discuss these issues. As to Azerbaijan, I want to say that Azerbaijan is a small country, maybe as compared to other countries, because we have 10 million people of population. But I just want to bring to your attention one fact. I was elected from the northern part of Azerbaijan, Khachmaz region, and only from the constituency that I was elected, there are 22 nationalities.
Wow.
And see, this is only one region. I'm speaking about one region and national variety of this region, and think about other regions of Azerbaijan. Think about the larger.
Excuse me. In my constituency, only Azerbaijanis and Armenians living. So I hope that when I return back to my native city of Khankandi, I will be able to serve both my constituencies, Armenians and Azerbaijanis. Some Armenians don't like it, but I am ready to do the best for my constituency, because we don't differentiate between the ethnic groups. So very good point.
I think, you know, we need to eliminate in your constituency this useless imagination that we cannot live together.
Yes.
We live together. We have experience, because during the Soviet period, actually, Armenians and Azerbaijan, they were neighbors in one quarter, in one building block of flats. So they live together. We have experience, and I think we need, you know, to change the policy that that has its objective, and we know which objective it has, just to break into parts the territory of Azerbaijan. And now we have very strict policy. They understood it, and now the next page is to live in peace, to understand that the variety, the national identity, and to live together, to understand who you are and to understand who they are. It is very, very beautiful.
Mr. Ameriks, with these positive points, maybe you have some last words to say about Latvia, about European Union, or whatever that we have missed that you wanted to point out.
I think first, thank you for possibility to discuss with you. And what I like to say more, yes, we also in Latvia, we have problems, social problems, inflation and economical things. It is normal. We have to solve. We are politicians. We have to decide how we will live further. But first of all, we need good friends. We need people who understand each other. And I say once again, yes, maybe sometimes we can this is one sentence. Yes, you need more friends than money. Yes, if you have more friends than money, you are rich. Yes, and in Latvia, yes, also we had elections in last autumn. We have new parliament and new government. It's also not easy to live, because war has influence for many spheres in Latvia as well. But we need the friends, and you need, and Azerbaijan also need the friends. And if you have more friends, more supporters, I think our life will stay better.
Thank you very much. Very good points. And here I would like to wrap up our conversation. Very interesting. Of course, we could have spoken a lot about these issues, but we have limited time. And thank you very much, Mr. Ameriks, for your contribution. Thank you very much, Ms. Mikayilova, and hope to see you again in Baku Network.